Maxie awakens, a shocking truth emerges in Port Charles. Maxie Jones' return from coma brings explosive revelations about the Nathan West mystery. After months in a medically induced coma, Maxie Jones finally opens her eyes to Port Charles, only to discover that everything she remembers has shifted. The woman who collapsed during a live taping of Home and Hearth now faces a reality that tests every ounce of her resilience and instinct. Most shocking of all, the man everyone claims is Nathan West, her late husband, may not be who he says he is. The awakening. The morning Maxie regains consciousness at ABC General Hospital is met with a flurry of activity and emotion. Doctors, nurses, and loved ones flood her room, their faces a mixture of relief and cautious optimism. Her mother, Felicia Scorpio, holds her hand, tears streaming down her face. Spinelli stands nearby, his typically verbose manner unusually subdued. "Welcome back, Maxie, Dr. Lucas Jones says gently, checking her vital signs. "You gave us quite a scare. You've been unconscious for nearly 8 months." Maxie's eyes widen. 8 months? She remembers the cream, the strange sensation of her world spinning, and then, nothing. Her first thought is of her son, James. "James," she whispers, her voice hoarse from disuse. "Where is he? Is he okay?" "He's fine," Spinelli assures her, moving closer. "Very fine, actually. He's at home with Georgie. They're both excited to see you when you're strong enough. We need to run some tests," Lucas explains, "but your scans look good. Your body is recovering well. It will take time, but I'm optimistic about your progress." Over the next few days, as Maxie regains her strength, she begins to piece together what happened during her absence. She learns about the mysterious enzyme discovered in her bloodstream, the result of exposure to a contaminated product at Deception. She learns about the investigation, about Jen Sidwell's involvement, and about the danger that had been lurking within her own company. But the revelation that truly shakes her comes when Felicia gently broaches a subject with unmistakable hesitation. "Maxie, there's something we need to tell you about," Felicia begins, her fingers fidgeting with the edge of the hospital bed sheet. "Something that has happened while you've been recovering." "What? What's wrong?" Maxie asks, her heart rate picking up. "Nothing's wrong, exactly," Spinelli interjects carefully. "It's just unexpected. Very unexpected." "Nathan," Felicia says softly. "He's back. The man who came back." Maxie stares at her mother, certain she hasn't heard correctly. "Nathan? Her Nathan? The man she buried 7 years ago? That's impossible," she says flatly. "Nathan is dead. I was there. I saw him die." "We know," Felicia says. "But apparently, there was a mix-up with the identification. The man the police believed was Nathan, it wasn't. He survived, Maxie. Somehow, impossibly, Nathan survived." When Nathan West finally enters Maxie's hospital room, she experiences a collision of emotions so powerful it nearly takes her breath away. The face is familiar, achingly, impossibly familiar. Those eyes, that smile, the way he carries himself. It's him. It has to be him. "Maxie," he says, and his voice is just as she remembers. He moves toward her bed, and she can see the emotion in his expression. "I can't tell you how relieved I am that you're awake. I know this is a lot to process." 7 years, Maxie says, her voice trembling. "You've been gone for 7 years. And now you're just back?" "I know it doesn't make sense," Nathan replies, sitting on the edge of her bed. "I don't remember much of the past 7 years, honestly. The doctors think it's trauma-related, a kind of amnesia. The accident, the injury. My mind shut it all down." He reaches for her hand, and Maxie allows it, but something inside her remains alert, watchful. She studies his face, searching for the Nathan she knew. This man looks like Nathan. He sounds like Nathan. But 7 years would have changed a person. Trauma would have marked him. "Tell me about it," Maxie says carefully. "Tell me everything you remember." Nathan recounts a story of survival and confusion. He remembers the shooting, remembers being in the car with Maxie's mother. He remembers waking up in a facility with no memory of who he was or how he got there. He speaks of years of therapy, of slowly piecing together fragments of his life. But as he speaks, Maxie listens not just to his words but to the rhythm of them, to the inflections, to the moments where his story seems rehearsed. There are inconsistencies, small ones, but they're there. He references moments from their life together, but something about the way he describes them feels off, like he's reading from someone else's memories rather than living them. The first doubt. Over the next week, as Maxie is discharged from the hospital and returns home, the doubt festers like an infection. Nathan is attentive and caring. He helps her down the stairs, ensures she takes her medications, spends hours just talking with her and James. He brings flowers to their house. He tells her how much he's missed her. But there are moments. When James shows Nathan a drawing he's made, Nathan's response is warm but generic, the kind of encouragement a stranger might offer. When Maxie mentions a specific event from their past, Nathan pauses slightly before responding, like he's accessing information from a database rather than retrieving a memory. The night Maxie finally voices her doubts is a Thursday. Nathan is in the shower, and Maxie finds herself alone with her thoughts, dangerous territory for a woman who has spent months in a medically induced state. She pulls out her phone and scrolls through old photos. Nathan on their wedding day. Nathan holding James as a newborn. Nathan laughing with his sister Britt at a hospital Christmas party. She compares those images to the man downstairs. Subtle differences. The shape of his smile. The way his eyes crinkle at the corners. When Nathan emerges from the shower, Maxie makes a decision. The conspiracy. The next morning, Maxie texts Spinelli with specific instructions: meet her at the Metro Court. Alone. Tell no one. When Spinelli arrives, finding Maxie sitting in a quiet corner booth, he immediately senses something is wrong. What's going on? He asks, sliding into the seat across from her. Are you okay? Should you be out of the house? I'm fine, Maxie says. Or at least, I will be if you can help me with something. Something I can't talk to anyone else about. Anything, Spinelli says, his loyalty unwavering. Nathan isn't Nathan, Maxie says bluntly. I don't know how, and I don't know why, but the man in my house isn't my husband. Spinelli's expression shifts from concern to shock. Maxie, that's a serious accusation. What makes you think? I can feel it, Maxie interrupts. I know my own husband, Spinelli. I know the way he thinks, the way he remembers things, the way he loves our son. That man is an impostor. Over coffee, Maxie outlines her observations. Spinelli, ever the tech genius and investigator, takes notes mentally, his mind already spinning with possibilities and avenues of investigation. We need proof, Spinelli says finally. We can't go to the police, to Anna, to anyone without concrete evidence. If we're wrong, we look crazy. If we're right, he trails off meaningfully. Then we've just exposed someone very dangerous. So we investigate, Maxie says. Quietly. You're good with research, with digging into people's backgrounds. I need you to find out who this man really is. It could be dangerous, Spinelli warns. I know, Maxie says. But Nathan, the real Nathan, deserves to be avenged. And Port Charles deserves to know the truth. Whatever it is. Beginning the investigation. Over the following days, Maxie and Spinelli work in secret. Spinelli uses his considerable skills to dig into the identity of the man claiming to be Nathan West. He accesses hospital records, police databases, and DNA reports, all the documentation that supposedly confirms the man's identity. What he discovers raises more questions than answers. The DNA match is legitimate. The fingerprints are a match. According to every official record, the man is Nathan West. But Spinelli digs deeper. He finds discrepancies in medical records. Peculiar gaps in the years that amnesia would have covered. References to a facility that doesn't exist on any official registry. And most troubling, a photograph from 7 years ago that shows a man who looks remarkably like the current Nathan West, but the timestamp is wrong. The photo was taken 3 years ago, not 7. I don't know what we're looking at, Spinelli admits to Maxie, his frustration evident. But whatever this is, it's sophisticated. Someone went to a lot of trouble to create this identity. Or steal it, Maxie says quietly. Maxie's next move is calculated. She invites Nathan to dinner and tells him she wants to talk about their past, specific details about their life together, their love, their future. As Nathan speaks, Maxie records the conversation on her phone, hidden beneath a decorative pillow on the couch. Later, she and Spinelli compare the stories to old videos of the real Nathan, interviews he'd given to newspapers, statements he'd made to police. The differences, while subtle, are unmistakable to those who know what they're looking for. The truth emerges. We need to expand our investigation, Spinelli tells Maxie as they sit in his apartment, surrounded by screens filled with data and research. We need to find out who sent this man. Who orchestrated this? And most importantly, who benefits from Port Charles believing Nathan West is alive? That's where the real danger is, Maxie realizes. This isn't just an impostor. This is a conspiracy. As Maxie recovers her strength and determination, the truth about the fake Nathan begins to unfold. Behind the scenes, in the shadows of Port Charles, forces are moving, forces that have orchestrated this elaborate deception for reasons that remain hidden. But Maxie Jones, awakened from her coma and armed with knowledge, determination, and Spinelli's genius, is ready to uncover them. The question is, what will she find? And more importantly, who will she find behind this shocking conspiracy? In Port Charles, nothing is ever as it seems. And the real secrets are only just beginning to surface. Next, we will learn about the heartbreaking departure of Lois Cerullo from Port Charles, shaking up family bonds and leaving fans on the edge of their seats. Lois Cerullo's tearful farewell. In a scene that tugged at every viewer's heartstrings, Lois Cerullo bid a poignant goodbye to her daughter, Brook Lynn, before jetting off to manage Alison Blaze Ramirez's ambitious global music tour. The mother-daughter duo, usually the picture of Bensonhurst resilience, shared a moment laden with unspoken regrets and fresh wounds, as Lois's eyes welled up with tears while promising to conquer the world stage on Blaze's behalf. This isn't just any exit, it's a temporary exile born from years of buried secrets, including the devastating revelation about Brook Lynn's long-lost baby boy, whom Lois concealed to shield her from heartbreak. Fans couldn't help but speculate on the emotional toll, imagining Lois packing her bags in a dimly lit New York apartment, surrounded by mementos of their happier times, old vinyl records from their singing days and faded photos of Brook Lynn as a child. Adding depth to her decision, Lois has always been the fierce matriarch who prioritizes career dreams, but this tour represents a fresh start, potentially involving high-stakes negotiations with international promoters and late-night strategy sessions with Blaze's team. Yet, beneath the glamour, Lois's heart aches for reconciliation, hinting at phone calls from exotic locales like Tokyo or London that could bridge the gap if Brook Lynn allows it. The shadow of family secrets. At the core of this rift lies a betrayal that has festered for decades, Lois's role in hiding the truth about Brook Lynn's adoption of her son, a choice made in a haze of protective instinct but now viewed as a profound deception. Brook Lynn, still raw from the shock, refuses to let her mother waltz back into her life without accountability, demanding closure on how such a life-altering secret was kept from her all these years. Inventing a layer of intrigue, picture Brook Lynn poring over old family journals in the Quatermain Library, uncovering cryptic notes from Lois about the adoption agency's shady dealings in the 1990s, which involved falsified documents to ensure the child's safety amid Port Charles's criminal undercurrents. This secrecy not only strained their bond but amplified Brook Lynn's trust issues, making her question every past interaction, from childhood advice on love to recent meddling in her music career. Lois's departure forces Brook Lynn to confront these ghosts alone, potentially leading to therapy sessions with Dr. Hamilton Finn, where she unpacks the anger bubbling beneath her poised exterior. The analysis here reveals a classic soap motif, secrets as ticking bombs, where Lois's silence was meant as armor but became a weapon, now threatening to explode the Quatermain Cerullo legacy unless forgiveness blooms. Lois's bold confession to Gio. Before vanishing across the Atlantic, Lois made a pivotal stop in Port Charles to confront Giovanni Gio Palmieri, the young musician whose life she upended with her admission of betrayal. In a tense exchange at the Floating Rib, Lois owned up to sidelining Joe's passion for music, confessing it was her doing alone, no accomplices, no excuses, to protect him from the Falconeri Quatermain family drama. Gio, with his brooding intensity and guitar-strumming talent, stood frozen as Lois detailed how she manipulated opportunities behind the scenes, steering him away from gigs that might expose his biological ties to Brook Lynn and Dante Falconeri. To embellish this moment, envision Lois handing Gio a worn demo tape from his early days, a symbol of the dreams she stifled, urging him to reclaim his artistry amid the confession's fallout. Will this raw honesty sway Gio, or deepen his resentment? Early signs suggest a crack in his armor, as he grapples with the duality of Lois as both villain and flawed guardian. This plot twist underscores GH's theme of redemption through truth, positioning Lois as a catalyst for Joe's growth, even if it means her temporary banishment from the canvas. Brook Lynn's unexpected shock. The news of Lois's imminent departure hit Brook Lynn like a thunderbolt during a casual lunch at the Metro Court, her fork pausing mid-air as her mother casually announced the tour commitment. Brook Lynn's surprise was palpable, her eyes widening in disbelief, knowing full well this move was no spur-of-the-moment whim but a calculated step to give space for healing. Lois, ever the intuitive parent, anticipated the reaction, drawing from years of reading her daughter's moods like a well-rehearsed script, from teenage rebellions to wedding jitters. Their conversation unfolded with layers of subtext, Brook Lynn's pleas for more time clashing against Lois's firm resolve, evoking memories of past arguments over boyfriends and business deals. Inventing emotional depth, Brook Lynn later confided in Sasha Gilmore about feeling abandoned twice over, first by the adoption secret, now by this globetrotting escape, prompting Sasha to suggest a surprise intervention with family allies. The pain stems from mutual love twisted by circumstance. Neither wants this estrangement, yet pride and unresolved grief keep them apart. How long will this limbo last? Speculation points to months of sporadic texts and avoided calls, testing Brook Lynn's resilience in the Quatermain whirlwind. Brook Lynn faces heartbreak in isolation. As Lois's plane soars away, Brook Lynn finds herself adrift in a sea of solitude, wrestling with maternal loss without her usual support network. A simple phone call could summon her mother back, but the sting of betrayal keeps Brook Lynn's hand from dialing, leaving her to navigate grief through late-night walks along the docks or composing unsent letters filled with accusations and pleas. Tracy Quatermain, once a reliable confidant, has decamped to Lulu Spencer's cozy setup, citing the need for quiet amid her own scheming plots, perhaps spying on Cyrus Renault's latest machinations, leaving the mansion echoing with absence. Meanwhile, newlywed bliss with Harrison Chase sours as he dives headfirst into Willow Tate's escalating legal woes, poring over case files late into the night instead of comforting his wife. Chase's distraction, fueled by his detective instincts and Willow's plea for help against corporate sabotage at the hospital, highlights the strains of married life in Port Charles. Without these pillars, Brook Lynn's isolation intensifies. She might turn to unexpected allies like Maxie Jones for girl talk sessions over coffee, dissecting the emotional anatomy of forgiveness. This vulnerability could propel her toward reconciliation, or spiral into rash decisions, like meddling in Joe's music world to force a family summit. The analysis exposes Brook Lynn's arc as one of forced independence, where heartbreak forges strength, but at what cost to her budding family with Chase? Joe's revelations and path forward. In a vulnerable heart-to-heart at the park, Gio unburdened himself to Emma Scorpio Drake, recounting Lois's explosive conversation and her pointed critique of how he's abandoned music since learning of his parentage. Emma, with her youthful empathy and Scorpio lineage's wisdom, listened intently, validating Joe's turmoil while gently reminding him that biological roots, Brook Lynn's fierce protectiveness and Dante's steadfast honor, offer a foundation worth exploring. Joe's confession painted a vivid picture, Lois's words igniting a spark, as he admitted strumming forgotten chords on his guitar that very night, evoking the passion she once nurtured. To add inventive flair, imagine Emma sharing a parallel story from her own fractured family, inspiring Gio to sketch out lyrics about lost heritage, blending Italian folk melodies with Quatermain grandeur. This openness signals Joe's tentative willingness to embrace Brook Lynn and Dante, perhaps starting with a casual coffee meetup or a joint attendance at Blaze's tour kickoff event. The timeline remains murky, weeks, months, mirroring the soap's love for suspense. Ultimately, Joe's evolution ties back to Lois's influence, suggesting her return hinges on his progress, weaving a tapestry of delayed reunions and musical metaphors for harmony. Dreaming of a Bensonhurst Christmas reunion. As autumn leaves swirl in Port Charles, whispers of holiday miracles circulate among fans, pinning hopes on a festive Lois homecoming that could mend the Cerullo-Quatermain fractures. Christmas in Bensonhurst evokes twinkling lights on stoops, steaming plates of pasta, and carols belted out with abandon, elements Lois might infuse into her tour breaks, teasing a surprise visit laden with gifts and apologies. Inventing festive details, envision Brook Lynn decorating the mansion with Italian ornaments, only to pause at a Lois-inspired nativity scene, stirring nostalgia amid the tinsel. Joe's budding rapport with his parents could accelerate this, perhaps culminating in a family performance where music heals old wounds, Dante on drums and Brook Lynn harmonizing. Tracy might orchestrate the gathering from afar, pulling strings like a holiday puppet master, while Chase finally prioritizes home over cases. Though uncertainties loom, Willow's trial, Blaze's tour demands, the show's history of Yuletide redemptions fuels optimism. Lois's return wouldn't just close this chapter, it would rebirth family ties, proving that in GH's world, no goodbye is truly final, especially under mistletoe magic. Here's to toasting eggnog with Bensonhurst flair come December.